Hi, MystikDan here, and welcome to GAMEpoch. This is a show where I play through the history of video games in the order of their release, starting with Super Mario Bros. On the Nintendo. And I'm about to start playing Dragon Warrior on the Nintendo, but before I do that, I just really want to give a shout out to a friend of mine who is running another YouTube channel. It's called Random Product Critic, or RPC. I'll put a link over here so that you can check that out. He just, anything that he can find and talk about, he throws a review video up, and it's all sorts of variety and fun stuff, and he's got a really critical eye, so worth checking out, and shout out to him. So please check out Random Product Critic. I'll also have a link down below. So, alright, and with that, let's get started. This is Dragon Warrior. I actually grew up with this game. This is one of those games on the Nintendo that I got to play a lot. I have a lot of fond memories of playing this also with my dad, and he plays some games, but he has absolutely no reflexes or coordination, so having to play a video game pretty much screws him unless it doesn't involve any kind of reactionary elements with, you know, physically doing things. So he's great with strategy stuff, and this is the first archetypal Japanese role-playing game. And I'm excited to get started, so I'll go ahead and push start, and this is a fresh cartridge. It's not brand new, I just cleaned everything off of it. So we'll go ahead and begin. Now, this is a Nintendo version in North America. So, one big difference between this and the Famicom version that they had in Japan is this was not password-based like the Japanese version. This, following in the footsteps of Zelda and a lot of other games at the time, had a battery inside the cartridge that allowed you to save files on it. So this actually came out 3 years later here than it did in Japan. It was released in Japan in early 1986, and here in 1989. So we had a couple years between when they got it and when we got it, and by then they had already come up with 2 more Dragon Quests, as it was called in Japan, and it was an insane phenomenon there. And it still is one of the greatest selling series of all time. And the guy who designed this, Yuji Horii, is a celebrity in Japan, which is actually not as common for video game developers as you might think. And not as much as they are here, typically speaking. As a matter of fact, Yuji Horii is more well-known, at least he was at the time. It might have changed, but he was more well-known than even Shigeru Miyamoto of Nintendo. So that just tells you how important these games were for Japan. So I'm gonna go ahead and start this. I'm going to name my guy after my moniker. We'll go with Mystic. Totally fits. Now, as far as I know, you can actually get, at least, this is what I've heard. I've never done this, but you can get different, like, stat boosts and stuff like that, or growth rates for different statistics or things like that, depending on how you name your character, like what characters you put in there or something like that. I actually don't know if that's true or not. And if it is, no idea how to do that, so I'm just gonna put my name in there, and I will do fast because I can read. This is the game. Descendant of Erdrick, listen now to my words. It is told that in ages past, Erdrick fought demons with a ball of light. Then came the Dragon Lord who stole the precious globe and hid it in the darkness. Now, Mystic, thou must help us recover the ball of light and restore peace to our land. The Dragon Lord must be defeated. Take now whatever thou may find in these treasure chests to aid thee in thy quest. Then speak with the gods, for they have much knowledge that may aid thee. May the light shine upon thee, Mystic. What's interesting, a couple of differences, excuse me, between this version and the Japanese. First of all, I could change direction. Yeah, believe it or not, in the original Japanese, you could not change direction. You were always facing forward. And to do anything, you would have to not only pick the action you wanted to take from this menu right here, but you would also have to indicate which direction you wanted to perform that action in. Really simple element that almost seems like, really, why was that even a thing? But we got that here, so there's that. Also, the English translation is surprisingly good for its time compared to everything else that, I mean, you guys saw like Ghosts and Goblins and some of the weirdness that was even in the Zelda game. I mean, the stuff that was coming out in America from Japan at the time was laughably bad. And yet this has a very thorough and well done ye old English King James Bible style talky thing, you know? And it was actually one of its charms that a lot of people loved about it, thought it was very funny. But it was not at all that way in the original. In the Japanese, it was written by Yuji Horii, who was a writer. And he was comical and quirky and fun. And this kind of loses that in its decision. Dost thou know about Princess Gwaelin? Yes. Mystic, please save the princess. What if you say no? Half a year now hath passed since the princess was kidnapped by the enemy. Never does the king speak of it, but he must be suffering much. Mystic, please save the princess. All I got were actually 2 teeny paragraphs of nothing particularly helpful. So yeah, this game has a menu system for doing anything besides basic movement. So if I want to talk to someone, I have to be facing someone and then come into the menu by hitting A and hitting the top button. I have to go to status if I want to take a look at my character, my current level over there on the left, and health. HP is health points or hit points. MP is magic points, or mana, but it's magic most of the time. G for gold, E for experience. My name is strength, how hard I hit, my agility. I think that's for speed, so my chances of going before the enemy in battle. I'll show that when we get there. My max HP and my maximum MP. So on the left it shows my current, and here in the status shows my total max, and then attack power and defense power, which I think has to do with my strength plus whatever weapons and armor I have equipped. And then it shows my 3 things of equipment down there, which I don't have anything right now. I can take stairs by choosing stairs. Yeah, like, this is ridiculous, like, completely stupid, but this is what they had started off with. To search actually searches the panel that you're standing on. And this is actually fairly important for a few things in this game. Mystic searched the ground all about, but there was, he found nothing. You gain a limited number of spells, and you get them specifically at certain levels. I cannot use this spell yet, which is odd, because I didn't even get to choose one. Items, nothing of use has yet been given to thee. I don't have any. Door, I think if I have a key I can do this. There's no door here. And then take is what I do when I'm on top of a treasure chest. So there's nothing here to take, Mystic. As if it's like, dummy. Fortune smiles upon thee, Mystic, thou hast found the torch. So now if I go to items, I can see I have a torch. A torch can be used only in dark places. Oh, move. So what's weird about this is when you push a direction, it doesn't actually start moving you that direction sometimes. Other times it does, but sometimes it doesn't. So, it's just a little bit wonky. Let's go down to take. Of gold, thou hast gained 120. I mean, this language is hilarious. And that's a lot of what people liked about this when it came out in America. Fortune smiles upon thee, Mystic, thou hast found the magic key. So, I'm assuming that that has to do with this door. Yeah, you can't walk through it without the key. Talk! East of this castle is a town where armor, weapons, and many other items may be purchased. Return to the inn for a rest if thou art wounded in battle, Mystic. Sleep heals all. It's true, you can go there and it will restore everything. If thou hast collected all the treasure chests, a key will be found. Once used, the key will disappear, but the door will be open and thou may pass through. So I can use door. Bam. And I'm pretty sure my key's gone. I didn't even check to see if it was in there, but... So this is just kind of showing me the basics of this game. Now if I want to save, there's one way to do that. Talk to the king. When thou art finished preparing for thy departure, please see me. I shall wait. Oh, I'm not prepared, I guess. Yes, I gotta... No, not... I can't take the stairs. They're rather settled where they are. King Lorik will record thy deeds in his imperial scrolls, so thou may return to thy quest later. That's how they refer to the save feature. Isn't that cute? If thou art planning to take a rest, first see King Lorik. Well, I'll go ahead and talk to these chaps first. There was a time when Brecconary was a paradise. Then the Dragon Lord's minions came. Where can I find Princess Gwaelin? Are you looking? You don't seem to be looking, you're just kind of wandering in circles. We are merchants who have traveled much in this land. Many of our colleagues have been killed by servants of the Dragon Lord. Sorry about that, bro. Rumor has it that entire towns have been destroyed by the Dragon Lord's servants. So, with role-playing games, this game really was the first of its kind. Now, Yuji Horii took a lot of inspiration from American-made RPGs, Western role-playing games like Wizardry and Ultima, specifically. Those were PC role-playing games. I'm greatly pleased that thou hast returned, Mystic. Before reaching thy next level of experience, thou must gain 7 points, experience points. The E in the menu on the left. Wilt thou tell me now of thy deeds, so they won't be forgotten? Yes, thy deeds have been recorded on the Imperial Scrolls of Honor. Dost thou wish to continue? Yeah. Goodbye now, Mystic. Take care and tempt not the fates. I mean, quality writing in this translation. It's actually well done. Silly with their choice in dialogue, but, you know, that's what they went for, so. Now, this is awful, because I want to go through this door, but I can't because I don't have a key. To become strong enough to face future trials, thou must first battle many foes. That's teaching me that I gotta go do fights if I want to gain experience, and I need experience to go up in levels, and I need to go up in levels to get stronger, and more health, and more magic points, and learn spells. Thou must have a key to open a door. Yeah, I learned that already. Please move. Thank you. And while Yuji Horii loved those games, he really liked the experience of being in these scenarios and wandering around and role-playing, feeling like he was a little more immersed that way. But it was also very heavily Dungeons & Dragons based, so if you were experienced with tabletop gaming at the time, it would have been like a video game version of that. To a degree. Still very limited, since, you know, your Dungeon Master is just pre-written campaign with everything already laid out for you, and not as many options for what you can do, but still. But also, the interface and everything that you could do in these games was very complicated. So the barrier to entry was rather high, and not at all appealing to casual gamers by any means, just because it was so ridiculous. When entering the cave, take with thee a torch. Why, I have a torch. Where, oh where can I find Princess Gwaelin? That's a running theme. Mystic's coming was foretold by legend. May the light shine upon this brave warrior. That actually healed all of my MP, which is great, considering I have 0 max MP, so. But that'll be handy, so that I don't have to spend money to get that back later, which money is hugely important in role-playing games like this. Welcome to Tantegel Castle. Tantegel? Welcome to Tantegel Castle. And I can't go this way. If I went down, I would leave, so it's fun to kind of see this. Sometimes some areas actually take advantage of that little trick, but this is the world map. I have heard this song over and over and over again playing this game, because this plays all over the world. And what's interesting about this world, too, is that there are no physical boundaries preventing me from going anywhere, aside from just distance. But what Yuji Horii decided to do with his design was to place bridges, separating areas with massive enemy changes. Now you'll notice I was just walking around and, hey, all of a sudden I got into a fight. Random battles. Highly hated. There's no way around that. Some people like them, I think mostly just because it's what they're used to. But, yeah, their existence is pretty universally hated. But this is what we started with, you know? And the technology was a little more limited to, you know, not really show battles before they would happen. Although, at least that would seem to be the argument, but Zelda 2 kind of throws that one out the window. But you'll see that when I get there. Anyway, I'm in a battle. I apparently got snuck up on because he snuck a hit on me. The slime attacks thy hit point decreased by 1. So what is your command? Now, this is not an action game. This is not live, going reflex-based. This is thinking, strategy, looking at your situation, your stats, understanding your equipment, your items, your spells, and looking at an enemy and figuring out what their strengths and weaknesses are, and what you need to do to take them down while taking as little damage as possible. So it's all strategy. Completely different from most video games at the time. And that was something he really liked about role-playing games. So this is easy, I'm just gonna attack. I failed and there was no loss. He hit me and hurt me, I won. Oh, come on! Hit the stupid slime! By the way, that slime is extremely well known in Japanese culture. With a common factoid floating around the interwebs that if you were to ask a Japanese person to draw slime of some kind, more than likely they will draw something resembling a Dragon Quest slime. These things are just hugely popular in their culture, because, I mean, they're like little Hershey Kiss drops of blue and a smiley face, and they try to kill you, and they're super easy. They're the basic enemy of this game. I mean, they're super easy to kill, but I'm starting off with nothing. So I have level 1. Oh, thou hast done well in defeating the slime. Thy experience increases by 1, thy gold increases by 1. So, super minor enemy, really easy to kill, doesn't do much damage, doesn't have much health, and I get very little from it, but that's just starting me off nice and gentle. Here's the nearby town. Thou art most welcome in Brecconary. Such an interesting town name, sounds like broccoli and stationery. Welcome, enter the shop and speak to its keeper across the desk. Alright, Mr. Green, we deal in... Buy something, will ya? We deal in weapons and armor. Dost thou wish to buy anything? Sure, what does thou wish to buy? Now, there are some differences here in, obviously in cost, but also in how much, attack damage they do. Obviously, you're gonna assume that the more expensive it is, the more damage it's gonna do. Most of the time that's true, but not always. There are going to be different abilities that some weapons will have over different other ones and things like that, but typically speaking, that's fair to say. So I only have 120. I do want to get... So I think for now I'm going to get the club and the clothes. So I want to kill faster, so I take less damage by virtue of that. And then I'll buy the clothes just so that when I do get hit, maybe I take less damage. That'll be it for now. So now I'm going to go into my items. No. Status? It automatically equips it. So now we can see my strength is 4, but my attack power is 8. So that's just a simple case of the weapon adds to my attack. So it's my strength plus whatever my weapon gives me, which means the weapon must be 4. My defense power is 4. I don't remember what it was before. It was 2? I don't know. Might have been 0. But the armor helped. So that, you know, that's going to be just a little bit, but that'll help me a little bit. Watch thy hit points when in the poisonous marsh. Okay. So the thing about these games is talking to everybody is crucial. This rubs a lot of gamers the wrong way. Gamers that want to just fly through things. They want to just get through stuff and say, okay, I want to see more. I've seen this. I want to see more. I want to go fight things. I want to kill things. You know exactly who I'm talking about. In fact, you may very well be one of those people, or at least you used to be, or something. Always drove me bonkers, because it's like, well, you just talk to people. You haven't talked to everyone. They tell you stuff. Not only do they help hint what you need to be doing and how to do things and how to pay attention to important stuff, but they also can give you side story. They can help flesh out this world and give it character and life and make it come alive a little more. You know, and that's worth something. Why not immerse yourself as much as you can when the game has been designed to be immersive? That's the way I've always felt about it. And this game, these kinds of games do that, where you really do want to talk to people, not just because they'll help you know what you need to do when it's not quite so obvious later on, but they give you helpful hints to make your gameplay experience easier, and they give you some history, and they give you some context, and sometimes some personalization, some characterization, and help make the people in there become people. I mean, the guy who made this was a writer, so that's what they do. They make people in worlds that we can experience and immerse ourselves into. That's exactly what he's going for. Well, let's say this. Go north to the seashore and then follow the coastline west until thou hath reached Garenham. Many have been the warriors who have perished on this quest, but for thee I wish success, Mystic. Those other guys, I wanted them dead. So, I'll just finish talking to everybody, and then when I'm battling, I'll chat some more. Tell King Lorik that the search for his daughter hath failed. I am almost gone. That's a little depressing. I guess he's searched for her and is hurt and isn't going to survive, even though he's in an inn? Alright. No, I am not Princess Gwaelin. I wasn't suspecting that, but that's okay. Art thou the descendant of Erdrick? Hast thou any proof? Interesting question. So that makes you wonder, who's Erdrick? Go north, blah, 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 yeah. Stop it! Choppy, slow, a little clunky, but, you know, it was the first of its kind. Please, save us from the minions of the Dragon Lord. I guess that's my quest, I'll do it. It's my dragon quest. Beware the bridges, danger grows when thou crosses. And there's your clue right there, that's the whole design of them, to indicate when you're going to a whole new section with more difficulty. See King Lorik when thy experience levels are raised. Oh, is that how this works? Man, it's been so long since I played this game. I'll talk about that when I get there. There is a town where magic keys can be purchased. That'll be handy, so I can come back and open all these doors. If thou art cursed, come again. Alright, Apu. I will come if I get cursed. Here's a bridge, but no danger this time. Enter where thou can. Oh, okay. Is that supposed to be a gameplay hint? Within sight of Tantegel Castle to the south is Charlock, the fortress of the Dragon Lord, which was an interesting design decision to try to help propel you towards your final goal, apparently. Welcome, we deal in tools. What can I do for thee? What dost thou want? The herb, thank you for... Whoops. I didn't mean that. Crap. Does I want anything else? Okay, dragon scale. What do I need the dragon scale for? I actually don't know. Unfortunately, you can't, like, see what these things do in here. Well, the herb is gonna be a good thing, because that heals me, I'm pretty sure, so... Torch, dragon scale. Okay, I'll be waiting for thy next visit. Again, I don't know how much information about the in-game stuff was in the instruction manual, because I don't think I had it. I did have the map that came with this, and it didn't only have a map, I think it also had like a list of all the equipment and swords and armor and stuff like that. I'm not sure. Ooh, a red slime! Kill it! The red slime's by 3. So you can see that club is helping me. That was done well in defeating the red slime. So the only difference between that and the slime was possibly its HP. I haven't been keeping super close attention to its HP, although that's usually a good idea. At least that's the way they want you to pay attention to this in these old games. I got an extra gold from that compared to the slime, so that was 2 gold. So, and they don't do any more damage. Their only problem is if they have more health, they may last longer and do more damage that way. So, but they're worth it because they're extra gold for pretty much the same difficulty. Now there it is. That is the end game, and it's just right there. Taunting you, pulling you, urging you on, going, look, your end is already in sight. It's going to be a long and harrowing journey just to get there, but you can already see it. It's there. Are you gonna make it? Are you gonna let them just sit there and mock your situation? Are you gonna go take down that Dragon Lord? Rescue the princess? Save the world? Slime only had 3, so that was easy. 1 experience, 1 gold. And as you can see, the random encounters, it's not the same amount of time between each one. Some of them have a long time between them, and some of them are 2 steps. I attack, and 2. Okay, so yeah, he's definitely not 3. My HP is down to 8. I should be okay for another battle or 2, but I want to be careful. If you die, you get sent all the way back to the king, and you lose, like, half of, or all your gold. And that's devastating when you're trying to save up money to get better equipment and buy some things and stuff like that. That sucks. And unfortunately, there's no free healing anytime soon. Except for MP, which can be nice when you get the heal spell. So then you can grind a lot easier that way by casting heal and then going and getting your MP restored for free, but I'm not going to have that for probably a while. Man, I only did it for 1. So you'll notice that even with my attack higher, I'm still not consistently doing the same damage. It's kind of a range. I've done 1 to 3 damage so far with this club, so... Not the best, but it works. So, unfortunately, it's going to be very slow going before I have enough money to buy any of the other really nice things, like the $180 sword, and the $70 armor, and the $90 shield, or the other way around, whatever that was. Not sure why I just hanged 10, but hey. So, I'm gonna be... Here's the thing about this game, and about a lot of old Japanese role-playing games. You have to wander around leveling up. It's not enough to just walk through the game like normal, go to the next dungeon, walk through the dungeon, go back to safety. Oh, see, I'm getting weak, and everything just turned red. That happens when you reach a quarter of your health. Okay, I might actually be in trouble. Okay, I killed him. I need... Ooh! Courage and wit have served thee well. Thou hast been promoted to the next level. Thy power increases by 1, thy maximum hit points by 6! That's awesome. Now, can I... Uh-oh. I don't have a choice. I could lose all my gold. I'll take a risk. Killed me. That was stupid. Thou art dead. Ah, I lost gold. Death should not have taken thee, Mystic. And I'm getting scolded! I will give thee another chance. To reach the next level, thy experience points must increase by 16. Now go, Mystic. Yep, my gold is halved. Ugh, that's embarrassing. And I save. You can only save by talking to the king. And when you do, it gives you the choice to keep going or to stop. It's the only way to safely turn off your game. I mean, you could just turn it off and lose your progress. Whatever. So that's unfortunate that I died, but you got to see that, so I guess that's important. Not that we won't ever see that again, because this is a tough game, and unless I spend a ton of time leveling up, or as the term is, grinding, then I'm going to have a tough time. I'm going to die. And this is why it's worth spending time getting money so that you can buy better weapons and armor, so that you die slower and kill faster, so you can level up easier. Never mind have a better time in tougher fights and harder dungeons with more difficult enemies so you can last longer. Aside from just the benefits of walking around getting experience points and leveling up, so that you're just naturally tougher. So, Yuji Horii really liked those old games, and his first game was, Portopia Mystery something something. It was a visual novel, what they call them, in Japan, a game that he made. Excellent move! The red slime's hit points have been reduced by 9! So that was a lucky strike, a critical hit, whatever you want to call it. That's normally, you roll a d20, a 20-sided die and hit 20, and if you're playing Dungeons & Dragons, that's an automatic critical hit, and you do the maximum amount of damage you can. Similar idea in these role-playing games. If you're lucky, you'll do a critical hit, or a lucky strike, or something like that, and you'll do extra damage. Normally that's determined by what's called the luck attribute, but I don't see that, and that may not be something that you can directly notice or influence at all. It might just be happening on the inside. I don't even know. But a lot of games will show that attribute to you. And you can see that, you know, the higher my luck, the better my chances of getting, you know, a really nice extra damage hit, you know. So, anyway, so his first game was Portopia, whatever it was. And it was a visual novel, which is what they call games. They're much, much more common in Japan. They're like almost non-existent here. I mean, they translate some from Japanese, but there are no American-made visual novels. Like, they just don't exist. And it's basically just video game books with images and music. And you, like, can sometimes choose how you're wanting to say things in different circumstances. But for the most part, they're very heavy dialogue and walking through a narrative that's pre-scripted. And so it's kind of like playing through a bunch of text that you just keep pushing the button to progress through, and then occasionally you make a choice here and there. Some visual novels are a little more interactive than others, but most of them are basically just playing a book. Or a movie. But it's much more like playing a graphic novel or a comic book because it's very limited visuals, kind of panel to panel. There's really not animation for the most part. That's just a trend, and he made one of those, possibly one of the first. And it was fairly successful in Japan. People really liked it. They liked his writing, they liked the story in it. And he decided to go with that and combine it with the role-playing elements of Wizardry and Ultima and make a role-playing game for the console. And he thought that the Famicom was the perfect system for that. However, not having a keyboard would make the control scheme need to be simpler, because this is all you would have, you know? Just the 4 direction buttons, start, select, and the 2 regular buttons. So he introduced a very simplified menu compared to what we would do, you would have in a normal Dungeons & Dragons game, where you would push a button to proceed through text, or to open the menu, and another button to cancel, for whatever context. That's it, and then move around the D-pad. Pushing start apparently pauses the game. I'm trying to do stuff, and not until I do that. Select. Doesn't seem to do anything. So, I mean, he deliberately went out of his way to make a simplified control scheme and make it accessible to the more casual gamer. Because he wanted to spread his joy of role-playing and immersion through this medium, but in a way that was more accessible. He also wanted to make it a little easier. So by doing so, he decided to alter the leveling up system by changing the rate with which you level up. While in Dungeons & Dragons, historically it was the same pace. They must have 4 experience. So the regular slimes have 3, the reds have 4. In Dungeons & Dragons, typically speaking, you would have the same amount of points that you would need to get to go up a level, regardless of what level you were coming from and going to. It was like 100 or 1,000 or something to get to the next level, period. He decided to change that so that the lower levels would require fewer experience points to level up, and then it would slow down the rate of growth and take longer to get there. So it does only cost 6 gold, but I mean, gold is harder. That's like 6 to 3 battles just to heal. It's kind of a bummer, but this is what we have to deal with in this game. A lot of grinding. And that was to not only make it more accessible and more rewarding to start playing the game, is to see yourself getting stronger a whole lot faster than you normally would, but it's also supposed to mimic what he intended to be a kind of coming-of-age story with this character. With whoever you name this, who is supposed to be a descendant of Erdrick, the person they were talking about in town, the legendary hero. And he wanted it to be a coming-of-age story where he starts off young and weak and not particularly special or noteworthy, but the more experience you get, the more dangers you get through and face, the more powerful you will become, the more you will grow in your experience and in your strength and all of that stuff. He wanted that to be mimicked by the gameplay. And good on him. That was a great way of doing that. It's nice to be able to feel yourself get better. Other games would do this differently, and I would probably argue in a superior way. Particularly the Metroid series. I really like in those games how you get permanent power upgrades. Oh, I went up another level. Yay! Courage and wit have served thee well. Thou hast been promoted to the next level. Thy power increases by 2, thy response speed increases by 2, thy maximum hit points by 2, and thy maximum magic by 6. You learned a new spell! Ooh, what spell did I learn? Heal! Yes! That'll make it much easier to grind, at least if I'm near anywhere where I'll get free MP, which actually I think is only this castle. But anyway, point being, that's going to make leveling up a little easier, because I won't have to spend as much money just to gain all my health back. I'll just have to go get MP restored. As a matter of fact, I can go ahead and get some MP right now by going into the castle. It's also interesting because, as we'll see, the story is not quite as simple as you would think. He wanted to kind of subvert... While he introduced a very traditional style story of be a knight and rescue the princess and fight the dragon, he also wanted to kind of twist it a little bit, and he does, but we'll see how later. Oh, this is what I wanted. I wanted to go get my MP back. So I'll go talk to this old man behind the counter, get my MP back. By the way, those tiles with the diagonal colors going through them, those suck. You'll see what they do later. And look, my MP just went up. I just got healed by 6. So I'm gonna heal, and my HP went to 17. I'm gonna check my stats. What's my max HP? 23. Okay, so I'm full. And that took 4 MP, so that's kind of brutal. That means I can heal while I'm out a little bit, but then once I get to the point where my MP's too low to heal is when I want to head back and get healed up, so... And now I might as well save since I went up another level. It's a safe thing to do. And, yeah, at this point, it's just... If you're smart, you'll take a lot of time grinding. Getting higher experience, so your level goes up and you get stronger and you have more goals, you can buy better things and be more prepared for dungeons with more herbs and torches or whatever else. It's just time. And that is one of the biggest detractors from these kind of games. Before reaching the next level, 23 experience points, so... still, you know, not very many, but more than it was before. Before I only needed 16. My first one I only needed 6, so it's going up each time, but... Still not a ton. It's gonna get to the point where each one's gonna need like 100 something, 1,000 or something ridiculous, and it's gonna be like, oh, it's gonna take forever. Of course, later on, enemies that are stronger will give you more experience, so that kind of helps even that out a little bit, you know? I will continue, yes. So for now, I've kind of given us a background on where he was coming from a design perspective, on how he wanted to make this game, and what his motivation was. Now just to keep going for a little bit, and then I'll stop, I'm going to actually experiment with this game series. I'm going to run longer episodes, just to see how it goes. Some people have said that they like the 10 to 15 minute episodes well, because it works for them, and others have said they would prefer them to be longer. So I'm going to try longer, since I've been doing the shorter ones, and see how that goes. So anyway, I'll talk about this really quick while I grind. Oh, and you want to see what happens when I go over these little bumps? I'm barely stalled. And typically, forests and mountains will have tougher enemies than just the grassy plains or the paths, the roads or whatever. Oh, and these... I can't walk through them, so... So, Yuji Horii ended up working for Enix. Or Enix. I always called it Enix. If it was going by the pure Japanese pronunciation of their vowels, the E is pronounced as E. So it would probably have been Enix. Enix. But I don't know if it's supposed to be a romanized phrase or not. I really don't know enough. And I've always just called it Enix, because Enix just looks and sounds cool to me, but... just taste at that point. So, if it has an official name, then I apologize, but I've always heard, you know, Square Enix, and people call it Squeenix. But yeah, it started off as just Enix, and this was actually developed by Chunsoft. I think Yuji Horii made his Portopoi whatever visual novel game at just Enix, but I can't recall. Enix has predominantly been a publishing company more than a development company, and they work with developers who make the games. Ooh, a new enemy! A Drakey. Mystic attacks. 5-4. He's hitting me for 2, so he's hitting harder. Well, as hard as the red slime. He seems to only have 5 or 6 health, so not too bad, but definitely supposed to be like, whoa, it's something new, get scared, you know? It's like every new enemy you encounter is definitely something to pay attention to, because you go through the game slowly enough to get used to who you're fighting, so anything new is just like, okay, I'm not used to this, now I've got some learning to do, I really hope this doesn't kill me. Ah, he hit me first. Jerk. Only 2. Yeah, he hits harder. He's taking me down by 3. Ooh, excellent move. Took him down by 10. Awesome. Yeah, lucky strikes or critical hits are always nice to come by. So that's a little tantalizing that there's a cave over there that I can't reach. I will be there later, I am quite sure. Ah, stop taking so much health off of me, jerk. See, one step. I mean, you'll see people make fun of that all the time. Like FF7 animations of Cloud going, and then getting thrown into another battle. It feels like that. Sometimes. It absolutely does. And some games have a worse encounter rate, a higher encounter rate than others. Some games actually can allow you to control the encounter rate to a degree by eliminating encounter rates, random encounters entirely, or by increasing them in case you're wanting to grind and level up and take less time walking, or to limit them so that you run into fewer guys so you can get through an area easier, you know. Some games will have that, and those are nice. This, I don't think it does. It might, but I really don't remember. I'm not going into this game blind, because I have beaten it like 2-3 times over the course of my whole life, but I definitely don't, by any means, have this game totally down. By any means. So Yuji Horii actually got hired at Enix. I think it was because he entered a competition of some kind. I really can't remember. But also, the guy who made the music in this, I have to apologize, Sugiyama, I think was his last name, his family name. I'm gonna have to re-look it up because I can't remember quite exactly, but I mean, his theme, da 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 da, that's hugely famous, in Japan especially, and it's well known even here. And he's kept with that theme and several of the themes in this game throughout its entire series, because they're just so well loved and so well written and recognizable. I'm gonna heal. He, I think, also joined at the same time. I think he may have done the music for that Portapoia, whatever. I'm gonna call it something different every time. And so Yuji wanted him to make the music with him. And only like 2 or 3 other people worked on this game. Like, it was a really small group of people that made this. And, the impact it had in Japan ended up being quite huge. In America, it wasn't quite so huge. And it got to the point where Nintendo had so many copies, because I think they helped publish this in America, actually. They had so many unbought copies left that they decided to do a promotion through their Nintendo Power magazine by giving away copies of the game to new subscriptions. Which is amazing, considering the game was worth like 40 to 60 bucks in 1989, $1990, compared to $20 for the subscription for a year or whatever. $12, $20. So yeah, that was a deal. And that actually worked. That got this game a whole lot more exposure, and it increased their subscriptions to the magazine a lot. So that really helped both cases quite significantly. The game still received, you know, fairly positive reception, but it was a little bit mixed because there were some elements where they were just like, huh? And it was especially kind of dwarfed by Final Fantasy, which in America was released a year later. Again, another 3 years between its Japanese and American release, which I find strange. I'm not really sure exactly why, but... and Final Fantasy did a few things much better than Dragon Warrior did. Like automatically talking to people if you're facing them, and automatically taking stairs if you step on them, and stuff like that. So, I experienced by 1, I gold by 2, and I went up to the next level. My response speed by 2, maximum hit points by 6, yay, magic by 10, nice, and another new spell. What spell did I learn this time? Hurt. Super descriptive. I mean, they kept the names very simple in the English just to make them, like, self-explanatory. This spell heals, this spell hurts. It's just, I don't know, that was funny to me. 16... So that means I can heal more often without having to return to base. But yeah, the impact was quite big in Japan, and fairly big here. But I mean, by the time it was released here, they'd already released sequels to this game. This is running very long, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this now. And I'm going to actually grind for a while. I want to get up to... I'll determine that later. I'll get up to level 6 or 7. It's going to take me a while. And that's the unfortunate thing about this game, is it uses grinding. Because there's no way you would survive this game without grinding. There's just no way. You have to grind to do well. I mean, people will take it a challenge upon themselves to try to go through with as low a level as possible, or do level 1 runs. They're actually common self-challenging runs, to do level 1 runs, and I don't know how people do them. They're super, super hard to do, and I've never bothered, but they're there. But yeah, for the typical gamer, it's expected for you to take time to grind, which extends the gameplay experience and the time you spend playing it in a way that I just don't feel is necessary. You could have just, you know, do it like games do, where you get better at it the more you play it, simply by virtue of developing skills. And then once you have the skills and the knowledge, you can get through the game. And then if you come back later, you can get through the game really powerful and fast because you're so much better than you used to be. You can't do that with this game. With these kinds of games, no. Every time you're going to play it, you're going to have to go through the slog of grinding, even if you know what you're doing. Just because that's what you have to do to get stronger. You have to take the time to get leveled up, to get gold. And that sucks, and that significantly decreases replayability. It can be a very enjoyable experience one time to go through the whole thing and experience it and conquer the challenge. And then you're like, I spent so much time walking around doing the same thing over and over and over and over again just to get stronger so I could get through a section. That gets old, and that's not a positive experience. And unfortunately, it took a lot of role-playing game series a long time to figure that out. And some of them still haven't really quite figured that out. I don't know, give or take. The thing about leveling up is you can always get through a challenging segment in a regular playthrough by just taking a little extra time grinding and getting leveled up and getting more gold so you can buy better equipment or more items. That's almost always an option with most role-playing games, and Japanese role-playing games especially. So it's like, I don't know. If you believe in good game design and a good gaming experience being defined by the skill it takes to get through it, that is not conducive to that kind of experience. It's conducive to patience. So maybe it's your cup of tea to prove yourself through your patience and perseverance. Every time you decide to play through it. Or you decide not to play through it multiple times. I don't know. But I've decided that I'm more of the latter camp. The thing that I always liked about these kind of games is I could just, like if I was in school or whatever, I could just take the time walking around with my left hand while reading my things or doing my homework with my right hand, and then just kind of hitting the A button and looking over and seeing how my health's doing, and then run back while I'm, you know, needing to heal, and then go back to the grind and just kind of doing it one-handed while I, you know, browsing the internet, chatting with friends, listening to music, reading a book, and doing my homework, you know? I multitasked like a crazy person back when I was in high school. And so it's kind of nice to be able to do that in the background while you're doing other things, and then when you come back to it later, well, now I'm stronger and I can kind of get through areas easier. I liked it for that. If you're able to do that, well, more power to you. Why not? You know, if you can do this at the same time, so this is fairly mindless once you know what you're doing, and then do other things like, you know, do homework or read or whatever you're wanting to do, then by all means, fine, but if you kind of have to do that in order to not be bored out of your mind doing this kind of thing, that is not great. That is not fun. So anyway, I will end this episode here with that, and I'm going to turn off all of my stuff for now, and I will come back once I've leveled up to, I'll just go ahead and call it level 7, and then we'll see where I can go from here. So, thanks for checking into GameEpoch. This is MystikDan signing out. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!